1878, Alberta, Canada. A long, freezing winter, unlike anything seen in decades. Accompanying the bitter cold was a horrifying case that left the local people in shock. A man named Swift, driven by hunger, killed his wife and 6 children, using their remains as food. The victims were reduced to scattered bones, their legs were broken, and the marrow had been completely extracted. The crime scene was utterly tragic. What was even stranger, when the police interrogated Swift, they discovered that 10 miles away from his home, there was a large-scale storage facility filled with supplies. This meant that Swift could have easily prepared enough food for his entire family to survive the winter without resorting to cannibalism. Swift never ate human flesh out of hunger. After keeping the case secret for 27 years, the Canadian authorities classified it as Wendigo Psycho and swiftly executed him. According to local indigenous legends, the reason Swift devoured his own family was that he had been possessed by the evil spirit of the Wendigo. If he had continued, he would have fully transformed into a terrifying monster known as the Wendigo. Swift's case shook Canada and reignited the ancient legend of the Wendigo, making it even more mysterious. Welcome to the Saint-Jean Research Institute. Today we will delve into the mysterious case of Helene Wendy. Canada is home to many strange and unexplained events, especially in the regions bordering Alaska, USA. Reports of bizarre monster sightings are frequent, with the most infamous being the Wendigo. The word Wendigo originates from North American and Canadian folklore, translating to the ravenous demon. As its name suggests, the Wendigo is a cursed being, a monster that is eternally hungry, particularly for human flesh. When it awakens, it relentlessly hunts humans. Legends say that this half-demon, half-monster possesses high intelligence. It can mimic human voices, crying out for help to lure its prey. It is also said to hide under beds, waiting for its victims to fall asleep before attacking. In the 18th century, if someone went missing during the winter, people immediately suspected a Wendigo attack. The legend of this creature stretches across multiple regions, from North America to Canada, and even appearing in some myths in the United Kingdom. In known descriptions, the Wendigo has at least 3 forms. The first is a huge troll, 4 to 5 meters tall, with a mouth full of fangs, making harsh sounds when breathing. It possesses infinite strength and grows larger the more it eats. This form can be understood as an enhanced version of Bigfoot. The second type is a creature resembling a living corpse, about 2.5 meters tall, with pale skin and an aura of death and decay. It sounds like a mutated, mournful corpse. The third type is considered the true form of the Wendigo, a giant demon with a deer's head and a rotting body. In Western culture, humanoid creatures with goat-like features are seen as extremely ominous. The image of the Wendigo has been deeply rooted in people's minds since the 17th century and remains active in various mainstream horror cultures. Beyond these 3 forms, there are many artistic interpretations, such as those appearing in games and movies, where the Wendigo might look like an alien, a chimpanzee, or a combination of its 3 main characteristics. Regardless of its varying depictions, the Wendigo has a few consistent traits: an insatiable appetite, a connection to winter, and supernatural abilities that can affect people's appearance and behavior. The most terrifying aspect is that most Wendigos originate from human transformations. In indigenous legends, the Wendigo possesses a terrifying power of possession. A possessed person emits a strange smell, suffers from insomnia, extreme emotional depression, and a burning sensation throughout their body. This drives them to strip off their clothes and walk alone into the snow. When they return, they are no longer human, but consumed by an unprecedented hunger for human flesh. As they kill and eat those around them, they gradually transform into a true Wendigo. The Wendigo's physical abilities are a central part of the legend. In 17th century Canada, the Wendigo was not just a myth, but a phenomenon linked to mental illness. People believed that those possessed by the Wendigo spirit exhibited symptoms of extreme violence and a craving for human flesh. Between 1661 and the late 19th century, there were over 77 documented cases of Wendigo psychosis, with more than 40 patients having eaten human flesh. These cases sparked debates among psychologists in the 1980s, with some arguing that Wendigo psychosis was a culturally constructed illness, while others pointed to historical records as evidence of its existence. The legend of the Wendigo and Wendigo psychosis are deeply interconnected, making it difficult to determine which came first. There are two popular explanations for the origin of the Wendigo legend. The first is that in harsh, famine-stricken areas, people resorted to cannibalism to survive, and later rationalized their actions by creating the myth of the Wendigo to alleviate their guilt. The second explanation is that the legend was created to warn people against crossing the final moral Di-Shan by using the threat of becoming a monster. Regardless of its origins, the Wendigo legend reveals a dark period of history filled with famine, despair, and tragic events. In 1907, a man named Fidel, an Ojibwe football captain, was sentenced to death for killing a woman he believed was transforming into a Wendigo. He claimed to have dealt with at least 13 others who were either becoming or had become Wendigos. This case, among others, shows how the legend, whether true or not, deeply influenced people's actions and fears during that time. The Wendigo legend forces us to ask, is it the monster or the human heart that is truly terrifying? Perhaps the Wendigo does exist, not as a physical creature, but as a manifestation of the darkness within us. In extreme conditions, who can guarantee they will hold on to their humanity? Once the moral Di-Shan is crossed, the devil within can emerge. These are mysterious cases that have not yet been solved. If you like this video, please like and follow. Your support is my greatest motivation.